push this down a bit so y'all could see me. Just my head. Felt like you guys were seeing my head and not me per se. So I am live. I said I would come live, so here I am wanting to discuss self-love and self-empowerment, which is it's a big thing, you know. Yeah, it's a big thing to discuss, to just really fall in love with yourself. Learn to like what you see in the mirror. That could be a challenge for some, looking at the mirror and just feeling like, come on. You know, there's times when I look in the mirror and I'm like, not right now. Thank goodness, not right now at all. I love me some me. I'll be very honest with you, but there were times where I was like, you know, and I think I've mentioned it in the last video, if you guys get to see it. You know, I didn't like them cheeks. I was like, they're too much or whatever, and like my little small eyes when I smile that you can barely see. So those were things that were an issue for me. Not anymore, thank goodness. So I'm waiting for folks to come and join me so we can have a discussion, because today's discussion, I really want to speak about a woman that, you know, we're all hearing about, Naomi Paloula. And I think she's resilient. I like her courage. I like her strength. I like who she is and what she stands for. That definitely resonates with me. I love people that could face challenges and not crumble, but just stand firm in their truth and who they are and what they know who they know themselves to be. That's phenomenal. That's powerful. That's a powerful mindset, a powerful life, you know. The power of a strong well-being, a strong will, to not look at things like, you know, it's going to be the end of you, because it's not. It's not. What I've learned in life is there's always someone looking to crumble you, to kill your spirit, to take you out, you know. I hate to think like that. I don't necessarily think like that on a daily basis, but there are people out there. Their goal is to let me see what you're made up of, you know. So come join me. Let's talk about this, because if you haven't heard of the story of Naomi Paloula, this will be your chance to hear about it and just, you know, look things up, because she's definitely, you know, standing as a woman of impact for not crumbling under the pressure of societal norms or what people think society, how a woman or someone should look like. First of all, who is to say what someone should look like? Like, hello, who has that? Who have that right, you know? Who have the right to say, you know, what someone should look like or shouldn't look like according to whose standards? Like, hello. When I heard that story, guys, I was like, seriously? I was shocked. I really was shocked when I first read it. I was like, am I reading correctly? I had to read about it twice and just kind of go to different sources to just gather information, because I was like, what's going on? Hey, how are you? Y'all know that I need my glasses, right, to see who I'm chatting with, because I'll also be a blur. So, hey, Sean, what is going on? I'm talking about the Naomi Paloula scandal, stuff that's been happening on the news. So I really want us to discuss that, and just, you know, as level-headed people in a space of elevation journey, just knowing that's part of what happens, you know. People have their own views on things, and sometimes they want to put it out there and make it seem like that's how it should be, which, if you're not familiar with her story, for those that's not familiar with Naomi Paloula's story, she's a 37-year-old female from Zambia. She's actually an attorney. She's a lawyer. So she's well-to-do and stuff, and she gained some unwanted attention from social media for posting a selfie. Like, hello, she posted a selfie, and she got, from what I gather, 530,000 comments on her selfie. 530,000 comments. Like, hello. Um, and those comments weren't so nice. It wasn't people that was saying, hey, Naomi, I like your selfie. Oh my gosh, you look beautiful. I like whatever. No, no, no. No, no, no. It was a lot of them were mean comments. You know, people looking at her and picking her apart and tearing her to pieces and just really projecting their anger. And I just thought, what is that? I was like, what is going on, you know? So it's funny because people will say whatever it is that they think they're entitled to saying with no concerns about others. You know, it did not. Someone asked, excuse me, if it affect her political status. Well, it has gained her a lot of views as far as, you know, people know who she is. It's something that was intended to break her. And I think why I wanted to discuss this in this live is to see how she reacted. I think initially I read she wanted to take the selfie down. She was like, this is crazy, all this mean comment, let me take it down. But then she stopped and paused and thought, wait a minute, I want to face this, you know? However, she came to that realization, she didn't take the selfie down. The selfie's still there. There's plenty of other selfies. So she looked into it and just saw, wait a minute, what's going on? She has two eyes like I do. She's got a nose, she's got a mouth, she's got cheeks, she's got hair and, you know, forehead, ears like everybody else. You know, she has all her physical attributes like we all do. Apparently her nose is a little bit larger. That's what she's gotten a lot of teasing. That's what a lot of the bullying, you know, online bullying is coming from, the size of her nose. And I just thought, my gosh, what is going on? Yeah, Sean, I don't think it I don't think it affected her political status. I mean, she's still practicing, she still has her job, but I'm sure as a person, it took her back because she claimed that it did. It was like, what? Is this is this serious? But I read that being that she's from Zambia, they tend to like a full-figured woman, more of a fuller-figured woman. She's always been slim. That's what was reported. That's what was stated. She's always been slim. So she's gotten bullied or teased or made fun of up in her upgrowing years in regards to her size, because she seems very slim, petite type of woman. She's not a full-figured woman, and that seems to be a preference there. And I don't know if it was then and what it is now, but that's what was reported. Yes, it is crazy. Looks at certain individuals from different cultures, not even aware. And she mentioned, one of the things she mentioned, she says, you know, because I think the ask was, you know, she should get surgery, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's always looking to fix something, a quick fix. Let's get surgery. Let's do this. Let's fix this. What's called imperfection, because it's not an imperfection. That's how God made her. And she claims that nose that is being targeted or spoken about is something, it's a trait of her dad, you know? So that kind of keeps her connected. That's her father's nose, she mentioned. And I thought people don't know. And I don't know if her father's living or anything like that. I don't know. Thank you. Thank you for the hearts and stuff. But it just, I got passionate about this because I said, who are we? What? Who's got the nerve, the audacity to tell someone what you should look like? Like, hello? Who does that? I was trying to wrap my mind around it, and I said, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because you didn't make anyone. How do you tell them they're supposed to look a certain way? You know, like, hello? They look however the good Lord have entrusted them to look. And I don't know. I don't know, guys. Give me your thoughts on this. Have you heard about this story? Is this news to you? Is this new to you? Or did you read about it or saw about it or what have you? Because I tell you, when I read it, I was like, is this for real? 2025, grown adults. Like if we post a selfie, there's repercussions. people come back and tell you what they don't like or what have you. Yeah, it was new to me too, Sean. When I read it, I was like, this is craziness. Is that what we're doing in 2025? Is that what we're doing as adults? Like, let's be for real here. And I just think people, when someone is insecure about whatever area of their lives, it's easy to try to project that on someone else and make them feel a certain way because of whatever it is that's going on. People want to make sure that other people feel small. And I think, it speaks volumes. It tells a lot about someone when their sole purpose, you even have people that go on live, just to bully, just to say mean things or whatever. It's just, I think it saddens me to see, how people operate, especially when it's grown adults. It's like, but yes, that was supposed to, I don't know, hurt her feelings or what have you, but she did the bravest thing. And oh my gosh, I applaud her for that. She stood up toe to toe, and face the villains and say, you know what? This is who I am. I love myself. I've accepted myself. And she said something about maybe she might not be aesthetically pleasing to, the masses. But as far as it depends on her, she's at peace with herself, with all of her features. And I thought, that's how it should be. I think about that, and as a grown woman, she's 37 years old, she's able to see it, have the smart to process it, and realize that, what, it has nothing to do with her, it's on someone else. Then I think about, the school age children, the middle schoolers, the high schoolers, the, people that's dealing with, acne or whatever, or learning how to, speak properly with correct sentences, or whatever it may be. And I think, oh my gosh, there's so many areas people could nitpick at. And if someone don't know who you are or whose you are, and don't have a strong stance on have a strong foundation that you can stand on, it's no wonder people are depressed. There's a lot of anxiety about stepping outside of the home. As you guys know, I work in healthcare. Some of you might know. And day to day, I deal with people that, sometimes don't want to leave their home because of fear. COVID was a whole new thing, but some people are still hanging on to fear. And I understand that, because in this day and age, in this world that we live in, there's so much, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I have so much respect for this woman, for just the way she handled what could have set her back, what could have just crippled her, She didn't take down her selfie. She didn't dismiss from speaking. If anything, she spoke her truth. Have you guys dealt with any kind of bullying? It's so funny. For a long period of time, I thought bullying was, a child, but not realizing as adults, there are, especially in this world of connecting online like that, people use platforms like that to tease others, or to say mean things, or to be indifferent. And that speaks so much volumes of where they're at, their mental state, their persona of themselves. Because it has nothing to do with Naomi. She didn't know those 450,000 people that was, commenting and saying things. But they felt compelled, and I think what what got me was people often feel like the things that they have to say, it matters. It matters so much that I have to tell. Like, what was the expectation? For her to run into surgery? For her to run and, whatever? And I think sometimes people have to stop to think, okay, if I put this out there, what's the expectation? I'm doing this live. The expectation is to really think the next time you see someone bullying or whatever, how are you going to stand up to it? Prime example of a woman that stood up without, she didn't have to get dirty and curse and swear and all of that, but she stood her truth. She stood up in love of self, you know. How are you doing with your love of self? You know, in the face of turmoil, do you have that level of love for self to say, you know what, whatever's happening around me, I love me some me. I love myself. I'm grateful for my features. I tell you, stuff like that makes me really think of our world. Even younger children, you know, what are we leaving for the next generation? I love it that she was able to process and respond in a way that is effective, in a way that really gave her, you know, miles and miles of, you know, confidence, and it exuberates so much self-worth. She knows her worth. She knows who she is. You know, children, young, you know, teenagers, or even sometimes some young 20s, people don't really fully understand who they are. And gosh, I dare say sometimes in their 30s, depending on what's happened in people's lives. Stuff like that, it's almost made to destroy, you know, to impact someone in a way where they're like, I'm never putting a selfie out again. I'm shutting down my channel. I'm not going into face, or whatever it is, you know. We live in a world where people want others to suffer, you know? Like, if I don't like what you say or what you do, I want to make you feel some type of way. I'm inviting you, you know? Take your power, man. Don't let anybody make you feel any old way. Take your power. Naomi's a prime example of that. If you're not familiar with her story, go read it. Go check it out. I did a video on it, and I had her on the cover of the video next to me. That's, you know, that's a woman that has resilience. I haven't seen that, you know. People tend to not respond to things, or respond with hatred, especially when you talk about somebody's feature. You know that's a sensitive topic. You know, it's like going for the gusto, going for the features, going for things that's out of somebody's control, you know. We didn't create ourselves, you know. I often say, and I've shared it with you guys, you know, my cheeks used to be something that was problematic for me. I was like, those cheeks, they're too big, or whatever that I had growing up. I had some issues with it. I felt some type of way, you know, and it didn't help because my family did say, come here, and they'd grab my cheeks, and I'm like, so yes, I felt, you know, indifferent about it, because none of my siblings, well, my younger sister does, but none of my siblings have this, you know, cheek that I'm dealing with or have dealt with in the past. Now I'm not dealing, I'm loving, I'm embracing. I love everything that God has entrusted me with at this stage of my life. But that wasn't always the case. And I think, you know, we never know where people are at. We never know where people are at. Yeah, we never know. And comments like that, you know, it really is designed to take someone out. But I love the fact that she stood in her truth. She's resilient. She says, nope, 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 you won't take me out. Not like that. You know, how resilient are you being in the face of insanity? In the face of someone else's opinion, my friends? Do not, I repeat, do not let their opinion, you know, override what you know about yourself. No, no, no. Don't do that. Don't ever give up your power like that. No, please don't. Before you do that, reach out. I will be right there to tell you, no, 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 don't do it. Because it's just someone else's opinion, you know. It has nothing to do with you. It had nothing to do with Naomi. She was minding her business. She put out a selfie. That's it. And going on about her regular day. But someone was compelled to start, chomping away at her, and then more people, and more people, and more people join. 530,000 comments. Like, hello, that's a lot. 530,000 comments. That's enough to make someone, lose it, to make someone feel some kind of way, especially if someone's struggling with behavioral health, mental health issues. That's definitely something that could send them to the deep end. And that's why, every comment, before you comment on someone's post, before you speak your mind, although, we have the freedom of speech, I urge you to think through it. What is that person going through? What are they dealing with? You never know. You never know. So funny, I was speaking to someone just recently, and he rents apartments and stuff to healthcare professionals. And he was he was sharing with me a conversation that he had with one of the gentlemen that lives there. He says, these healthcare people, they're not very friendly or whatever, was the comment. When they come home, it's like, you want to talk. And then he said something. He says, do you know whose hands they had to hold that was in their last breath? Do you know what they had to deal with, the code or whatever? And he says, he just saw that guy changed his whole persona. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And I understand that with the healthcare profession, but it goes with anyone. We don't know what phone call someone could have just received, about an ill family member or someone that, something happened, something that's devastating. You never, ever, ever know. So loving oneself is learning to not be reactive to whatever is going on. Not be reactive, because it doesn't lead anywhere when you're so reactive. When you could stop to think before putting out a comment, or stop to think before responding, what a different world we would live. And that's what I want to encourage you to do, Got thirsty. That's what I want to encourage you to do. Stop and just think through it. Think through the things you're going to say, the impact you could have on someone else. Think through it. I'm sure some of these people, if they thought about the impact they could have had, maybe they would have responded differently. I don't know. But oftentimes I think people feel like they've got to make you feel a certain way about yourself. We all know our imperfections, We all know the things we love about ourselves and the things we don't. We all know our imperfections. Give me 1 second, y'all. I have to share something with you. This has been my go-to. It's like that, some hot flashes. So, my personal fan, so don't mind me. But, I think about it because people tend to want to make others feel a certain way about themselves. Like, where is that coming from? Where is that level of selfishness to just share things just because you feel like it, with no regards to another human being, with no regards to what the effect it might have on them? And I think all this 450,000, think about it, 450,000 people tell about someone. That's a lot, guys. That's enough to send someone, hiding for years or in deep depression or whatever. I'm speaking about it because I am so encouraged and so excited for her and her resilience and who she is. She showed up for herself like nobody's business. She showed up for herself and said, no, 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 I'm not going to take it lying down. I am going to stand up. I am going to address it. And I'm going to show you that I've risen above this so long ago that your words have no power. That's a woman on an elevation journey. She's elevated to such a different height that these words, these mere words, does not affect her. So when you think about self-love, identify, what's one thing you appreciate about yourself? What's one thing that you need to work on? So if that very thing that you probably don't like so much, we all have something, but you're working on it. That is that saying, we're a work in progress. You are a work in progress. You're working on whatever. And you're progressing, making strides. But to let someone tear you down to the point where you're losing yourself, don't do that. Rise above that. Naomi is a prime example of someone that rose above the bullying, the teasing, the name saying, the name calling, the bullying. That's what that is. As adult, that she rose above that. And whatever you're dealing with, I want you to rise above that. I want to encourage you to identify whatever it is for yourself. Because once you identify your own truth for yourself, no one has, the opportunity to bring it up against you in a way that, is devastating to you, because you're well aware. You're well aware. Like me, I know my flaws. I know my imperfections. I know the things that, that I'm still working on, that I still need to rise above. So if and when it comes up, it'll be oh, you notice it? Well, I'm working on it. No surprises there. No surprises there. So it's the world that we live in. It's unfortunate, but we almost have to equip ourselves for what's to come. Equip ourselves. It's funny, those are conversations that we'd have in our younger years. Not as mature adults, but in 2025, we have to have those conversations. We have to stay equipped and stay prepared and stay on top of things that could affect our mental health. Undoubtedly that could have affected her mental health. Undoubtedly that could have sent her to, downward spiral, hiding or whatever. To rise above things like that, it takes a lot. It takes knowing who you are. It takes knowing whose you are. It takes standing up knowing that regardless of what's happening, I will not fold. I may buckle. We're human. I'm sure she's had a moment where she might have buckled. Like, why is this happening to me? Didn't I deal with this before? Where is this coming from? Whatever. But to see her standing strong and speaking about it, that's exciting to see. Because I don't know what young person she's giving a voice to. Letting them know that they are okay just as they are. We are all okay just as we are, And don't get me wrong, people can, enhance themselves. I'm all about that if that's what someone wants. Absolutely, go for it. How old am I? Older. Older. I'm in my 50s, actually. So I've seen a lot. I've learned a lot. I've done a lot of things. I'm very grateful for all the paths. Why, how old are you? How old is this audience? Are you guys a young audience? Are you guys aware? There you go, 47. Okay, that's awesome. But yeah, at our age, people are still doing stuff like that. That's crazy to me. But the one thing, the one place that you have power is in yourself, your own thinking, your psyche, your mindset. Be on point with that. So when situations come up, and it comes up everywhere, guys, in the workplace, the neighborhood, at the gym, whatever. Oh, thank you. You are very welcome. Thank you. You're awesome as well. Um, I love the fact that, we as a community can come together and rally behind someone and let them know, you know what, I see good in you. Not nitpicky. I'm in the Boston area. Yes, in the United States. Um, because that's what it's all about. It's about seeing one another and identifying. Because the common core, it's the same, We all want growth and development. We want to expand our lives, our loved ones. We all belong, We have families. This woman, she belongs. She has family. She has loved ones, you know? So I really want you guys to really think through. To really think through the things that's going on and just really realize that, you know what? How will I face the next situation? How will I face the next situation? If someone comes up and they're bullying, they're showing up with, anger and animosity, have enough love for yourself that whatever they're doing, it won't affect you. In Massachusetts, I did mention that. It won't affect you. Boston, Massachusetts. Because once you give up your power, once you're so affected by that person or their words, then you want to go into anger mode and fighting spirit and all of that, and that's giving up your power. Don't do that. Don't do that. Rise above it. uh, you are correct, Mitra. I do teach as well. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I do teach. I'm actually starting back again. After this live, I'm actually going to go online to get some stuff situated for my class. So, yep. I was on a break, but my break is done. And I'm like, I want it back. I want it back. You're a teacher as well? What do you teach? Because I'm in the healthcare field, so I do teach coming students in healthcare. And I like it. But it has its ups and downs. Some days I'm like, oh my goodness. Like right now that I have some work I have to do, some preparations I should say. So I'm like, I don't want to, but I know I have to. But enough about that. This whole Naomi thing, guys, it really got me thinking of the world that we live in. The people that we encounter. You never know what someone's going through or how mean or what they've experienced. Oh my gosh. See, that sounds like a great thing to teach, spa yoga. I'm all about a good spa day. Love that. Yoga. I just started. I'm tapping into yoga. So I have a friend of mine. She's a yoga instructor. So I'm going to try to get together and stuff. And I've gone to some of the classes. But where are you located, Mitra? Am I pronouncing your name correctly? I'm sorry. I hope I'm not butchering. I have this thing of wanting to pronounce people's name correctly. Even Naomi Palula, I believe that's the pronunciation of her last name. But yeah, guys, it's all about self-love, knowing yourself, loving what God has entrusted you with, and be at peace with whatever your features are, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever it is, being at peace with it, because that's what matters. Boston, Massachusetts, Mitra. You've asked me that. Can't you hear my Boston accent? At least that's what people say. There's this whole Boston accent. I don't think so, but Miami. I was just in Miami last month, I believe. I was in Miami. It was hot. Not the kind of heat that I can live with. I was like, oh my goodness, get me out of there. And I was in Disney, as some of you guys saw the videos and stuff. I had taken my son to Disney. What a time we had. What a time we had. It was phenomenal. It was great. Just to see kindness and people. Of course, Disney's magical. People are kind and nice and, well, not trying to get in. Everyone was trying to get in. But on the way out, of course, you could see everyone was just exhausted. So, hey, Self-Care for Success. Thanks for joining. But, this video, we're talking about the Naomi Palula. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. She posted a selfie, and there was 450,000 comments about her selfie. And she's commented that she may not be aesthetically pleasing to others, but the amount of self-love this woman have, the amount of whatever bothers you, I understand that's you. It doesn't bother me that I love me some me, and God has created me with everything that I have, and I've embraced them. And I just love her resilience. I just love her spirit, her strength, her confidence, and just to look at cyberbullying and face it straight ahead and realize that I will not fold. I will not give up. I will not, simmer down and stop and disappear. But I'm going to stand in my truth. I'm going to stand in self-acceptance. And I love that. Yes, I love her self-esteem. I love who she is. Despite of, like it's been reported in Zambia, the full figure, she's not that way, but she faced the bullies, She's authentic. And I think, there's a scripture, I believe, Genesis 20 verse 5 or 5:20, one of those. I'm not remembering exactly, but it says, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. And I love that, because so many instances and situations, even in my own life, that I've seen that an intention of harm that was so completely turned around for the good of my life and the lives of my children and my family. And that always humbles me and allows me to see that, there's so much good, God's goodness for us in our lives. And she, as a result, has been invited to be part of the Paris Fashion Week. And I thought, how ironic, the woman that they're criticizing for her looks, and now she's going to be in a place that so many probably dream of being, would love to. But she's been invited. She's gained an invitation. And I think that all stems from how she perceived herself, who she knows herself to be, and how she responded, in the face of insanity and chaos. Who are we going to be? Who do we choose to be? Because I always say things are going to happen, good or bad or indifferent, but you decide how it's going to go. That's awesome, Maitri. That means you have some time. I have 3 children, actually, 3 amazing children. I'm grateful for them. But, all things does work for all good. All things does work for all good. And I think it's regardless of what people are saying or what's going on, you make a choice, you know. Choose to be positive. Choose to look at your features, the things you like or don't like about yourself, and the things you're working on, because we all have something we're working on. Identify them, know them. So when it comes, you're not, shocked or being thrown, for a loop and have to recover. Although some things that said, yeah, you might need recovering from it. You might need to just stop and, take a breath. But know yourself enough to know that, stand in your truth, that everything you have it was chosen, handpicked for you to have. It's always what we choose to believe about ourselves, you know. We're empowered until we give up that power. The only way to stay empowered is to stay true to yourself, knowing your flaws, knowing your strengths. That self-work, that looking at oneself in the mirror is something I do pretty frequently, and just acknowledging the things that matters to me. What are the things that I'm working on, the things I'm growing on? Because that's where the power is. It really, really is. She could have been, I don't know, all over the place. She could have gone in the ugly route and be yelling and screaming or whatever. But to stay in a space of peace, tranquility, in the space of bullying, that takes some strength. That takes a lot of strength. That takes some knowing oneself, knowing your worth. That it's not even worth discussing. I used to hear that saying growing up, kill them with kindness. And there was a time I wasn't in a space of kill them with kindness. I was like, no, I'm going to be mean. I'm going to whatever. Until I realized, you know what? That doesn't even do anything. If anything, it drains your spirit. It deprives you of your peace, because it's like, what was the point of that? But when you stop to realize, wait a minute, that's not who I am. They have no idea who I am. Let me teach them about love and acceptance. You turn it around. Blessings follow that. All day, every day. I've seen it. Amazing things follow that. Then you could be an example for others, Because I think in everything that we do, we got to think of the legacy we're leaving behind. And I think that's quite a legacy for her to leave behind, in the space of anger and rudeness and thousands of people, 450,000. That's like insane to me. That's like insane to me. But, I'm grateful for people like that. I'm grateful we still have men and women of integrity, men and women that know who they are, that stand for something. That's not just falling for anything that's being said. Because once we're beyond that, once we go beyond that, then we could really have impact. Yep, you could really have an impact. My teeth. Oh my gosh, well, thank you. He likes my teeth. I like to smile a lot. I credit it to my dentist. They're good to me. And I'm weirdly enough, I'm a 3 times a day brusher. Morning, noon, and night. Kind of have to. So it's one of my things. Oh my gosh. I have to fight with my children though at times. Like, did you brush? Did you brush? But that's a whole different ball game. That's a different conversation. Self-acceptance, right? Accepting everything. The good, the bad, and the indifferent. There's no ugly, it's indifferent. That's how I like to look at it. So, yes, my friends, if you're dealing with anything like that, I hope and pray this is a video that you'll come back to look at, or you'll think about, Naomi. How did she handle that? How did she handle that 450,000, the whole bullying? And she went deep. She looked inside of herself and said, wait a minute, I know who I am. I know who I am, and as a result, I know how I need to answer. And I think that's spoke volumes to me. First time that I heard of it, first of all, I was shocked, as I said, because I was like, what? Hello? Is this real? Then when I saw her, I was like, okay. When I saw her response, I was like, all right, she's a woman of class. Okay, she's handling this like a queen, you know? And I love that. I love that she handled it the way that she did. You want to talk? She gave them something to talk about. Talk about kindness. Talk about self-respect. Talk about knowing oneself, self-acceptance. Talk about resilience. Talk about growth. Talk about, there are no limits. Keep going. Talk about being invited Paris, Fashion Week. Hello. That's something to talk about. That's something to put in someone's resume. I was invited to Fashion Week after being called all kinds of names, you know. So that's what it's all about. But growth and development, in the space of growth and development, as I always bring it back to, the title of the channel, the elevation journey. You're in an elevation journey. There's going to be people that will step on your heels, different situation, instances, words. It might not always be words of affirmation, not affirming you, words of discouragement. But choose how you're going to handle these things. Choose how you're going to respond to these things. Be certain of who you are to the point where situations, conversations, it might try to shake you, but it won't destroy you. I need to say that again. It might shake you. As I could understand, it probably shook her. Like, what? And she even said that. She was like, at first, she's like, what? And she had a conversation, I believe, with her sister. She says, what is it bringing up for you? And she had to do some searching and then respond in a way that's effective. It's okay if we get shaken. If it shakes us to the core, like, where is that coming from? But be prepared to not let that be what stops you. Whatever that is. If bullying or mean words or whatever, yeah, it might shake you. It might make you take a step back, but never let it stop you. Because to think about it, if she let that stop her, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, right? She wouldn't be a model to young men or women that's going through some difficulties, that, have some issues or whatever, that might not have fully accepted part of themselves or haven't grown into. Do that work, my friends. I am asking you to really look and see, okay, in the face, if this was me, this happened to me, what would be the response? What would be the response? See, when I see things like that, I usually stop to say, well, how would I respond to this? Would that be my demise? Or would that be an opportunity for me to just say, oh my gosh, maybe there is something there for me. Maybe there is something I need to look at. It's all lessons. Learn your lesson. Whatever the lesson is in this, I wanted to discuss this with us. Thank you for those of you who commented, participated. No, always be gold. Sounds like a plan. Just wisdom that comes with that. Wisdom to process things, to see things, and not let it destroy you. Shaking up a bit, I get that. I understand that. We're human. But keep going. Keep persevering. Keep pushing forth. You are on a journey of growth, development, elevation. That's the journey we're on. Keep elevating. I know Naomi's elevating to new heights, as she should, and I love it I love it that gives her that opportunity to elevate to new heights. I love that for her. You know, because what was meant to destroy, it ain't destroying the girl. She's going on. Fashion Week, Paris, yeah. That's what it that's where it's at. That's what's up. That's awesome. That is phenomenal. I love it that, and I can't wait to see how many more blessings will unfold as a result of what's occurred and how she stood. You know, blessings will follow her, and I you know, believe that for her. You know, whatever you're going through, you know, when the hard time comes, there's something good coming around the corner. You just haven't seen it. You haven't caught the vision. Don't give up. Don't give in the space of discouragement, or in the space of frustration, or in the space of concerns of I'm not sure, of confusion. Stay the course. Stay the course. You're stronger than you think. You really are. You're on a journey of elevation. A lot of people are not on no elevation journey. They're just like, let me just make it to today. But you're in journey of elevation. So keep going. Keep going. Nitro, you're asking how tall I am? I used to, my license says 5'8", but I'm 5'7". Oh, my children's is like 5'6.5". I said 5'7". That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But my license says 5'8". I was, not anymore. But it's all good. But yeah, elevation journey. I'm still on the journey of elevation, so who knows? Elevate to 6 feet. I don't think that's gonna happen, but but it's all good, you know. Prepare your mind, guys. Stay empowered. When you stay empowered, you prepare your mind. You prepare for whatever's to come. You're not so surprised. You're not, you know, destroyed by whatever. Words are, that's it. They're just words. They're just words. You're powerful. You're strong. You're resilient. We really are. As humans, man, we are powerful. When we put our minds to something, we see it to fruition. We see results, you know. Things evolve and you see it. And I so want that for each and every one of you. I really do. Whatever your journey is, whatever you're working towards, your elevation, your process, whatever it is, I want you to have that type of success. Because that's what life's about. To have that type of success, to have that type of growth, to see things move forward in life. What you had in 2024, this is 2025. You want to see things evolve, you know? As we're in the last quarter, so weird to say that, in the last quarter of the year, getting into that, you know? Yeah, we're in September. So be at peace, be resilient, and know that your breakthrough, you know, you never know what's on the other side. And that's when things seems like hard or just discouraging or whatever. It's almost always when I'm having conversations with friends, they're like, I can't do this, da da da. And I'm like, you've got this. It's okay. And almost weeks later, oh my gosh, I can't believe, I'll get a phone call. And I'm like, it's all good. You know, life has a way, things have a way of working itself out. Just stay the course. If anything, if any encouragement that I want to impart to you is to look at different stories and different events and just put yourself, what if you were in this situation? What would be your response? How would you react? you know. We can't change what people do, but you can certainly change how you face it, what you do about it. And that's the training. That's always the training for me, to look to see if today I could rise to be better than yesterday and the day before. I'm in a huge competition with myself to be better every single day, to evolve, to grow. You're on an elevation journey, my friend. You're in that same competition with yourself to evolve, to grow, to be the best version of yourself. Keep going. Use Naomi's story as a means to propel you forward in the space of discouragement, in the space of fear or concerns. See that you can do it, whatever it is, whatever's ahead of you, whatever's in front of you, because you never know when an attack will come, when, something will happen because of what you said, what you look like, whatever. But rest assured, when you know yourself, you know how powerful you are. You don't give in. You don't fall apart. You stay the course. You stay strong. You keep moving. And allow whatever it is to fuel you into the next best version of yourself. Because that's what it's all about. And that's what she's using that for. So learn to love you. Learn to accept you. Give yourself a break. If there's something that needs to be worked on, go for it. One day at a time. Acknowledge it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't make yourself a punching bag. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself grace. And allow that to be your fuel. Oh, thank you. That shirt, I get a lot of compliment. My little colorful shirt. It was chilly today. So I needed something long sleeves. It's kind of long sleeves. I rolled it up. Because it was chilly earlier. It's been raining my neck of the woods. Raining September. So I wake up to that. I don't know where you guys are at, if it's sunny and nice, but it's been rainy. But we need the rain, right? So no complaints at all. Just grateful and admiring, appreciating the blessings. But I hope this finds you all well. I hope you are excelling in your elevation journey. I haven't heard about projects or what people are up to. I'm here to support you, as you know that. Usually the Sundays, I know I haven't been here on a few Sundays because I've been traveling and doing things before coming into the school year. I had a couple of trips, a couple of things. I was in Disney, as you guys saw some of the videos. There's still more to come. It was a fantastic time. I was in Florida. I was somewhere else. Can't remember, but yeah, did some traveling with the family and just some unwinding, some me time, which is always good. I love that. I'm grateful when I get to have that. So I've got a lot of things I want to share with you guys, and I'll be doing some videos. I know it's been a while since I haven't done one. I'll actually be doing a video after this before I jump on the computer. So you guys will see that. The videos, please watch them. I don't get a lot of views in the videos. I know the live, a lot of you guys tune in, and the shorts and stuff, but watch the videos, share them, like, subscribe. I love your comments. I love the comments here, but comment on the videos. Let me know. If you have a specific topic you'd like us to discuss, let me know. If this, cyberbullying or what have you, if this speaks to you, if you've experienced that, connect with me. Let me know. I'm always interested in hearing your story, your life, as you're living it out, what's happening. As you know, I like sharing what's going on in my world with you and the things that I'm learning, just even something like that that's current. I want us to talk about it so that we, we could be moving forward and having an impact on those around us and really supporting people, because you never know. A story like that, someone might hear it and it might trigger something for them. So if you're ahead of it, then you can be of service, Isn't that what it's all about? I help you, you help me, we help one another. Because that is the goal, as we elevate, as we propel forward. Nothing, no incidents, no issue, nothing that's happened is just, okay, this happened to me. This happened so that way you could learn, evolve, and be of service. That's how I look at it. Everything. It's an opportunity to learn and to grow and to pass it on when someone else needs it. So I hope this finds you well. I hope you learn whatever lesson, whatever we discussed, whatever spoke to you, and pass it on. If you know someone that needs this, have them watch the video. I will release this so that way it can be seen. Please comment, share, like, let me know. Join the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel to be on an elevation journey. Let's journey together. You want to elevate. I want you to elevate. I want to continue to elevate. So let's do it together. Let's lock arms and move forward. All right? I truly do hope this finds you well. As always, be good to yourself and be good to others. It's been great chatting with you. I missed you guys. I'm happy to be here with you. You take good care. Bye-bye.